So the words are, I call on the people present to witness that I, Monty, take you, Monty, to be my lawful wedded husband.
You! Welcome back to another episode of the I Monty's Podcast.
Hello there.
All right, we're going
It's
to...
another Star Wars reference. Anyway.
You watch some shit, don't you?
Pardon me?
You're a big Star Wars fan?
Oh, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan,
I'm not a fan at all.
Describe it as shit is a fucking wild statement.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not...
Anyone that's doing a Star Wars wedding, I've got heaps of references for you. Obviously, you know where to come to, not this fucking idiot.
Yeah, no, I don't get it. I had to Google it all. I've done a few, but...
I've got a list of things. What do you want to do? Have you heard back about that other thing yet?
No.
All right. Well,
We're
let's
just
launch into something else then.
Hopefully they can't see on the screen who I'm messaging about the anonymity.
No. So what about this? Here's one I've got on my list. So this is not my story. This is a story I heard from another vendor, but I wanted to repeat it because it's like an urban myth that you hear.
Yeah.
And then it happened to this guy. He swears he was one of the vendors because it's one of those things you hear all the time in wedding land. So the urban myth is the one of, you know, the groom asks everybody to look under their chair and everybody pulls out an envelope and it's a picture of the bride and the fucking best man or some bullshit like that, you know. And that story does the rounds all the time.
Yeah.
All the fucking time. But this guy, and I apologise, mate, if you hear this and I've forgotten your name. I've only met you once, I think. Twice maybe. Never met the bloke before, ever in my life. He's been a DJ for 20 years in our region, and I did 2 weddings within a week with him.
Yeah, right.
Never seen him before, never seen him since. So I apologise, mate. I know he's in the Lake Mac area somewhere, but he was saying, we're sitting around, we're all at the reception. I think it was probably while we're having dinner, and we took, war stories, and he said, have you ever been asked to leave a wedding? And I went, huh? He goes, have you ever been asked to leave? And I go...
Not from doing a shit job.
No, that's what I was like, what am I being asked here? Because is this not going well? And he said he did a wedding and so obviously it's on that same track as the under the chair thing, but they the groom got up to do his speech and was thanking everybody, and he basically went around the vendors one by one and went, Mr. Photographer, you've done a great job today. Really enjoyed, hanging out with you and stuff. You can go home now.
And what part of the night was this?
Well, in the reception.
Yeah, right. So not finished yet.
No. So, yeah.
Still very much time to kick on.
Still very much time. So he's basically gone around all the vendors, including Mr. DJ, what you've done so far. Yeah. Amazing work. Pack your stuff up and go. And they're all going, what the fuck's going on? And he said, so obviously I just went for this opportunity, went out a microphone to say, Betty's been fucking Bill.
The best man.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I've found out, all you vendors, you can go home. Your work is no longer required here. The show's over, folks. Everybody go home.
Fucking hell.
And I was like, and you were that person? He goes, I was the DJ at a wedding like that. That's what happened. And I said, mate, this is incredible because
we heard about
this
it.
This is an urban myth that is all around the world of this scenario, and I've never met anybody that actually was at the thing. Yeah. And he said it was about, because I'm like, where at? What was it? And he said, he goes, mate, it was like 10 years ago. Yeah. I don't really remember. Only obviously the groom got up and asked everybody to leave.
Wow.
Which, is fucking, obviously, old mate's upset.
Yeah.
I get it. But by the time you got to there, I got a newsflash for you, fucko. You're married.
Yeah.
And there's no, here's a tip for you out there, folks.
I hope he's listening. You're really rubbing salt in the wound.
Well, it's 10 years later. He's probably had 3 other misses since then. Because and again, this hasn't happened to me, but I know celebrants who have, and you do too.
Yeah.
Who, on the Sunday get a phone call saying, we've had a stink last night.
It's all off.
Can you not submit the paperwork?
Sorry.
You've watched too many movies, motherfuckers.
Yep.
That's not how this works.
Even without submitting the paperwork.
Paperwork's nothing.
You're as hitched as hitched as soon as you say the words.
So the words are, I call on the people present to witness that I, Monty, take you, Monty, to be my lawful wedded husband. When you say that in the context of the wedding, and all the people heard you say it,
you are married.
You are done. It's not signing the paperwork. That's all the paperwork is the witnesses are literally witnessing saying they heard you say that thing.
Yep.
So once you've said that thing and everybody heard you say it in that context, you are married. So there's no, don't submit the paperwork. Can I get it annulled? Annulled isn't a thing. It might be in the States. It might be in the church.
Not in Australia, yeah.
Well, I think it is in Australia in the church.
Yeah,
but,
right.
you know, if you're getting a church wedding, probably not listening to this.
And we're not part of it.
And we're not part of it. But if you get married in a civil wedding in Australia and you go to all the way through to the parts that say, I call on the people present to witness, you are married. So if you're in a situation where you want to pull a sting, do it in the ceremony before the vows. Because once you've said the vows, you are fucked.
Yeah,
and that's for people who want to get out of it. Everybody else who says their vows, you're not fucked. You're having a great day.
Oh God, I have a story on that same line as well, but I don't think I can.
Oh, very good.
I might be throwing somebody under the bus.
Under the bus. Don't say that. Don't say that.
No, all right, we got some audio here, or you got something?
Oh, are we just doing it?
Hang on, I got a reply.
Yes. So basically what we're talking about here is we got some audio, but we wanted to double check
he or she does want to remain anonymous.
We can play it.
Yeah, we can play it, but we just
fine.
can't say who sent it in.
No, we were never going to do that. I just, connecting the dots from A to E is not that difficult.
She says she's not actually connected to this couple anymore. But,
fine.
But people will still probably be able to piece it together.
Yeah, that's
easy,
fine. Listen. We're just the radio here. We're just broadcasting it. We didn't do it, say it, or send it in.
Can't shoot the messenger. All right. Where is it? Here we go.
It is quite a long intro to this thing too.
Strap in, strap on, whichever you prefer. It's just a quick one. I have heard possibly the worst engagement story ever. I don't think, to be honest, I would have said no. If my partner did this to me, I would have said ask again. Try again another day. Because this is just fucking woeful. Ultimately, I don't think the person doing the asking really thought about the end result or the fact that, this girl will be wanting to shout to the rooftops when she's engaged. And people will ask her, oh my gosh, how did he ask? Well, this is how it went. They were just hanging around at home and he was sitting down and he asked, can you go get me a beer? Went to grab a beer out of the carton in the fridge and she pulls out a ring box. And she's like, what's this? And he's like, well, will you marry me? I don't even know if those words were said initially. He didn't get on one knee. He made her go and get a beer. And then just discover this box. And she has to relay that to people for the rest of her life. Whoever asks, she has to retell that story. Now, if I was her, I'd probably fluff it up a bit. But also, what kind of a shitbag doesn't put in any effort to someone that you supposedly care about and love? So that's my hot take. If you're going to propose, make it fucking good.
Thought it was going to be way worse than that.
Yeah, look, I've got to be brutally honest.
There's a lot worse ways you could propose.
Listen, anonymous caller. Take a good hard fucking look at yourself.
And we know.
I know.
We know that they're listening.
Not only is she listening, she's probably going to hear this before anybody else. Actually, cut that out. Cut that bit out.
No, that's staying in. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem. Maybe it's because I'm a bloke. And again, sweeping sexist generalisation. I'm going to say that the bulk of blokes listening to this will go
100%.
That's great.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? That's great.
That's classic. Yeah.
And maybe I'm biased here, so I'll out myself here. A lot of people that know me know this story already, but so Kate and I had been together for ages. We'd been together. We weren't together. We had a kid. And at the time, we just had one. Titus was maybe 6 months old. and we were at a wedding for friends out at Bathurst, and it was a bit of a weekend affair. It was on the bride's parents' property. Everyone was camping out there or staying in Bathurst. We had, funnily enough, a Winnebago that we were sharing with another few people. You know, we were bathing the baby in the sink, all this, and I can't remember whether the wedding had actually happened. So I'm outing myself by this caller's standards. I'm a shitbag, and also on another front because I was at a wedding when it happened. So I'm one of those dirtbags that's asked someone to marry them at someone else's wedding.
Yeah.
But when so
you did it at the actual...
Well, not at the wedding.
No.
I think maybe before the actual wedding had happened, but I think it was a long weekend, or it was a 3-day event. We were out there the night before, having a party, having a good time. Everyone got ready. We did whatever. And the property's beautiful, and it's got this big bluff. And in the afternoon, it's all like lit up with the afternoon sun. So Kate and I are standing there. Titus is probably asleep in the thing. We're having a couple of beers. We're kind of, arm around each other, looking at this beautiful kind of vista. A couple of tins under my belt, and I've said, when Titus is older, I'd really like him to be the ring bearer. I'd like him to bring the rings down. And she said, "Are you asking me to marry you?" And I went, "I guess so."
I fucking am now.
And that's pretty much it. Pretty much exactly it.
So no ring?
No ring.
No.
No ring. No forethought. I didn't get down on fucking one knee.
I reckon that's worse than this one.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think that's why because I'd not planned it to be. It was just a general conversation about.
Yeah.
But it was, it was always in the works anyway.
Yeah.
We had a house and a kid. Like, it was the next logical step. But it wasn't planned. I didn't drop to one knee. It just kind of organically happened.
Yeah.
And we were stoked. So old mate putting the ring in the fridge, that's I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, well, what you said before about, being that asshole that asks, proposes at somebody else's wedding. I actually had that, but it was a good story. So that it was already pre-planned out.
It was a good story. Fuck you.
No, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
It was all like a bit of a set-up thing. So I married these two girls, Mel and Lenny, and it was Mel's sister, who was one of the bridesmaids, and they played this game at the reception, sat on the chair. It was one of those, who knows the couple the most sort of things.
Yep.
And one of the other bridesmaids was asking the questions, and basically whoever won the game got a prize, and the prize was, she had to be blindfolded, whatever. And none of the guests knew that this was going to go down. But these brides at this wedding, they had basically given permission and wanted old mate to propose in the reception. So it wasn't him.
It wasn't springing it. No, wasn't ruining anyone's day.
He wasn't taking the spotlight away and making use of the flowers.
I should just say my story. We were by ourselves, just standing in a paddock. Like, I didn't interrupt. Sorry. Just going to stop you for one moment. Beyonce had the anyway.
Yeah. So he that was the present, like the gift, whatever prize at the end. So he got down one knee and proposed in the middle of the reception, and it was pretty.
If everybody knows it's on board, that's fine.
Yeah, it was pretty epic, and it was. I just hats off to the girls who were keen and let him do that, because they did definitely share their day with.
Oh, totally.
And so they're pretty happy parents that day. They got one getting married and the other one getting.
Yeah, well, and that was the thing. As soon as it happened. And funnily enough, like I said, we were standing by ourselves in a paddock, but one of our friends was walking past, and she did the big double take. She goes, "Did I just hear what I think I heard?" And I was like, "Oh, whoa. Everybody needs to relax." So that there was that titter of that go through, and I was embarrassed about that, because I didn't, for that exact reason, I didn't want it to be about we were there for something else.
For one time in my life, I didn't want to make it about me.
But that caller, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't think. Look, and I wrote down, we talked about the last episode, and I quickly jotted down. I said engagement pressure, because I can't remember what we were talking about specifically, but I'm going to shit on, and this is probably the opposite of what our caller was saying, in that, make it a big gesture and do something big. I'm not a fan of, and I'll fucking say this down the barrel, and it's, again, sweeping sexist generalisation, it's always blokes. But if you want to, in my opinion, if you want to, like, fucking, you're at the footy and you want to go out into the middle of the fucking stadium and propose is the word I was looking for, in front of all those people, you're a fucking dickhead. You are putting the other person on under enormous fucking pressure.
Yeah.
Because what are they going to do? Say no in front of fucking 40,000 people?
Oh, God.
Like...
That gives me anxiety just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a dick move.
Yeah.
Like, I get you think it's this big gesture of love, and they're probably going to say yes anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine, but you are putting them under a ridiculous amount of pressure to say yes, even if it's coercion.
Yeah.
Basically. That's fucking serious, isn't it?
Oh, well, no pressure for the beer proposal. She could have just said, go fuck yourself, get your own beer.
Yeah, well, that's right. They're at home.
If she didn't want to say yes.
That's right. Exactly right.
I didn't see it. I didn't go to the fridge.
Yeah.
Do it again.
There was some old box. I tossed it in the bin. But yeah, public proposals that are huge. Don't do them. It's a dick move. It's why, also in that same vein, I'm going to get serious, like legally serious. It's why you can't have a surprise wedding.
Yeah.
It's because you're
putting them under pressure.
You're putting them under pressure to get married in front of a bunch of people. So people go, can we do a surprise wedding? You can do a surprise wedding if you're surprising your guests and everybody, and the couple are on board and it's just the guests that are surprised. You can't have a surprise wedding if one of the partners doesn't know it's happening, because again, same reason you shouldn't fucking propose to someone in front of 40,000 people.
Yeah.
They might feel the pressure to get married and then go, this was a terrible idea. And as we just heard earlier, I don't know what was this one or the last one, you can't just annul it. If you get married, you're fucked. Not fucked. It's a great thing.
Well, you got Alzheimer's.
Unless you want to.
I've actually just.
I'm very old.
The still on proposal stories. I just went into one of my couples because
Talking to the mic, mate.
He's old Captain fucking Bossy over here. One fist away.
Into the mic.
Got it. So Jack and Joel went to school with Jackie years ago, and their proposal was, I think it was in the Blue Mountains. Let me just find. I'm just going to read it straight from the script.
I was going to say, you should have had it fucking ready to go.
No, I'm reading it from the script. Righto, then in Feb 2022, whilst on their first trip away together since lockdowns, Joel proposed to Jack in the most romantic way possible. They'd snuck Dingo and Wombat, that's their pets, into their strictly no pets Airbnb, and were sharing a bath together out the back overlooking the mountains when Wombat took off and started running for the house. Joel followed him and was gone for quite a while before yelling out to Jack that Dingo, who was never allowed outside unless they're home, had escaped, so in a mad flap, Jack ran back to the house. Obviously, been in the bath, not wearing much. Dingo had not escaped, but Joel had just used this as a cruel trick to get Jack back to the house, where he'd set up a picnic with flowers and champagne with the ring tied around Wombat's collar. And as she walked in, Joel dropped a knee and proposed to Jack, who was standing there completely starkers.
Perfect.
Joel also says that Jack still hasn't even said yes, as the first words out of her mouth were, "Where is Dingo?" But she did say it was the most beautiful ring she'd ever seen, and Joel said the same thing as she bent down to take it off Wombat's collar. So,
I thought you were going to say, because I hear this a lot too. People tell me the engagement story. Actually, I met a couple the other day. They showed me a video of theirs because they were her folks live in Canada or America or somewhere, and they were over there, and he lined it up with the parents to do it while he was there. But often I'll hear the answer to the question of, will you marry me down on one knee is, get fucked.
I know.
Or fuck off.
I love it when it's not the predicted response.
Yeah. I watched the video the other day where she got distracted and was looking away, or the parents were talking to her, and when she turned back around, he was, on the beach on one knee. And she went, get fucked. Which obviously said yes. Yeah, but that was the immediate response.
Yeah. Hang on.
You're doing it again. You stopped talking.
I know. I've got another one here, which was also another hole.
Let's go.
Another ring. Sorry. No, you keep talking for a minute while I find
fucking
this.
hell, mate. So I've got to look back at my list of things I wanted to talk about here. Oh, this is unrelated to anything, and it's not even that interesting, but because I have to fill in fucking 5 minutes while you scroll through a phone. The BDM stats came out last week, and they send it to you in an email, which I'm assuming you didn't read.
I actually did look at the pie chart.
But so they, and so unsurprisingly, weddings in 2022 were through the roof because it was a lot of catch up from COVID and stuff. It's the most weddings ever performed, yada, yada, yada. But then they had these charts of so they had the amount of weddings, and then the next thing they had on their newsletter was brides and grooms by nationality.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do I give a fuck? What is it? Why is this even
It's two people.
Yeah, why is this and I guess for statistics reasons, I understand why they collect that information. But, out of all the information they collect, when they decided to stick it in a newsletter and send it out to
why
celebrants,
is that what they put in there?
Yeah, this is I don't understand. I didn't get it at all.
Apart from that, it was the difference between church weddings and civil,
which is fine. I get that.
That makes sense.
That's that's fine.
And location. They had Maitland in there too. It's
because the postcode. It's 2290.
Yeah.
No, not that's my postcode.
2320. Yeah.
Yeah, but to the 2320 postcode, it goes from fucking Pacolban,
so it's
through to
all
Maitland,
it's the
and
Hunter
out
Valley.
to see them. It's got to be one of the biggest postcodes in Australia.
Yeah, right.
It's nearly all the way out to Patterson, mate.
Yeah.
It's huge. So that's why it says Maitland, because I thought the same thing. I was like, Maitland?
What's happening
Who
there?
gets married in fucking Maitland? But it's
at the jail.
It's
a couple there, but
it's a 2320 postcode. Are we ready now that I've talked statistics?
Yeah, I've got it.
Go.
So whilst enjoying the fanciest of dinners at Obar overlooking beautiful Sydney, Harriet turned around from admiring the view to find Leo down on one knee with the most beautiful ring she'd ever seen. Now, obviously, Leo's jeans had come a bit loose over dinner.
That's the opposite of what happens to me over dinner. my jeans don't get looser. Anyway.
But yes, no, that was one of those, say the line, wait a bit, and then people realised I was talking about it. and it's not what happened, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So these two girls are there pissing themselves, knowing full well that's, my jeans had not come loose. She's not staring at my ring. But
yeah.
Everybody it suited them. Everybody thought it was legit.
So I vaguely told you this story the other day, which you said I was a piece of shit, and I thought, I'll tell this story on the podcast then. and it was also prompted because shout out to Olivia Rose, who's a photographer from the mid-north coast. She's also just launched a podcast called The Wed Pod, I think.
Yeah,
maybe?
I think that's right. Yep.
I'm obviously not on it, so I don't really know much about it. Unless I'm involved, I don't know. But she's lovely. I'm sure it's a wonderful podcast. But it prompted me to remember or vaguely remember and put pieces of a story together that were told to me by others. So are you listening or are you going to fuck around on your phone?
I'm trying to find her podcast. You.
Oh, right.
Yeah. God, you're bossy.
Well, because I know you're not fucking listening, mate. I know as soon as you start tapping away on your phone, I know you've stopped listening.
No, I'm listening.
I think it's called the Wed Pod.
Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, so vendors out there will know, in Newcastle and the Hunter will know, for the last 2 years there's been a wedding gala organised by the wonderful Sam from Silent Shout and
Cara, I think.
Cara.
Yep.
From House of Lucy Love. Lucy Love?
Yep.
House of Lucy Love. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Great.
You're all over it.
Yeah, aren't I? So it's a great event. It's like a bit of a black tie number where celebrants get to let loose kind of mid-year when it's not so busy.
They put on such an epic show.
It's awesome.
So good.
And, wedding people are pretty much hospo people, so if anything happens, it's midweek.
Yeah.
So, because, unlike civilians, our weddings are full. Our weekends are full, I should say.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, people that know me will know, don't mind a good time. I like having a good time when there's opportunity presents itself. And so, at the gala, having a great time. The venue that the gala's at shuts and a bunch of people move to Uptowns, which is a local bar owned by one of Newcastle legends, Jerome.
Absolute champion.
So we're all in there. So by this stage, I'm having a really great time. And I see these, it might have even happened at the gala. So this is the details are hazy. I think I might have approached them at the gala and then again at Uptowns. But I see these two people at a table who I don't know and have never seen.
Yeah.
And I think, well, you're not from, and there's people coming from out of town to come to it. A bunch of people from the Central Coast. And as it turns out, some people from the mid-north coast. So lovely young lady. a younger bloke sitting at this table talking, never seen him, thought, you know what they need? They need someone local to come up and make him feel welcome. So I've just come up like a dribbling fuckwit. I couldn't even tell you what I said to him, right? So it turns out it's Olivia Rose and another bloke called Pete, I think it's Swindell. It's either Swindell or Swindle, and I'm pretty sure he probably doesn't call himself Swindle. Yeah. So let's say Swindell. He's a florist from up there as well. They've come down together for the night to enjoy it, not to be harassed by a middle-aged fuckwit. So I've talked to him for ages, or 2 minutes. I don't know which of those it was. And off I go.
Long enough to make an impression.
Yeah, big night. Ended up, kind of waking up the next day. And so at my own home, we've got a granny flat that we've just recently built. It's where our office is, but it's also got a bedroom and stuff. And Kate and I decided, we had a conversation before the gala. She just said, when you come home, straight up the granny flat. Don't bother coming in the house. Go straight up to the granny flat.
She's dealt with the dribbling fuckwit before.
Correct.
And didn't want to deal with it.
So I have this vague recollection, and then the bit I'm going to tell you is been filled in by her. But I had this recollection of being in our bedroom when I got home, and I couldn't work out why. Anyway, I've woken up in the morning in the granny flat. So there's a bag of Maccas and a drink spilled next to the bed. I'm there all over the joint, and she's shaking me awake going, whose phone is this? And it's not this phone. Yeah. It's also sitting next to the bed. I've got two phones. She goes, whose phone is this? And I'm like bewildered, right? I'm been woken from a drunken stupor. Yeah. I've got no idea what's happening. She goes, there's a girl here looking for a phone. I think this is her phone. Why have you got it? I go, what? And so she storms out with the phone.
I can't answer that question.
Storms out with the phone. So as it's turned out, when I'm harassing the fuck out of Olivia and Pete, I must have put my hand on the phone on the table, and then as I've walked away, thought it was mine and put it in my pocket. Never at any point realising I've got two giant iPhones in either pocket. So I've taken it home. The reason I remember being in the bedroom is I've clearly got her phone out. I'm trying to pay the cab, blowing up because my phone won't fucking tap. And so I've roared into the bedroom at 2 o'clock.
So not only did you steal her phone, you're trying
to pay the taxi with it. And the reason I'd gone in the bedroom was because we've got a little cunning kit in the bedroom with a bit of cash in it. Yeah. So I'm in there looking for cash. So which Kate's like, here's the thing. Like, here's the money, go away. Yeah, yeah. So that's that part of the story. And then when I've finally woken up, I've got about 58 missed messages from both of those guys who have used Find My Phone on his phone and to find that it's
registered to Monty King Celebration.
Monty King Celebrant on the pin. That's where her phone is at 8 o'clock in the morning. So they've had to get a cab from in town out to my place to pick up the phone. Oh. That's my wedding gala story. That's this year's wedding gala story. There's others from the other year, but we'll just let it slide at that.
There's some good photos too.
I like a good time.
Yeah, you do.
That's why I don't get invited to soirees. I'm only allowed to go to big shows. People don't invite me around to their house.
If you turn up with those sunnies on.
It's on.
It's on.
Yeah, nobody invites me around to their house.
No. Well.
What do you got? Anything? Is there anything in the list? Now I'm going to have to go back to the list while you scroll through it.
Lincoln's going to have to put some music in here. Actually, I was thinking, because it's got a nice bit of a jingle. Somebody said it sounds like the Spanish Fly or something. But, at the start of our podcast.
It was a little Spanish Fly.
Yeah. But also...
I only know that from The Simpsons.
We should have it playing when we actually start recording, because then it feels like we're legit.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do you think?
Oh, I don't know. That seems too technical.
We'll get Lincoln to...
All right.
Press and play on audio. Fucking old man. Well, I can't do that.
Yeah. All right.
I don't like change.
Fuck it.
Righto.